Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're on, sir. Take it
All
away.
right, we'll call the meeting to order. Jen, would you take roll, please?
Commissioner Corbin. Commissioner Phil.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Waldron.
Here.
And Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda, and I believe we want to postpone number 5 in that from the agenda. So if we adopt the agenda with number 5 postponed to a future date.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no appearances or acknowledgements, is there anything anyone wants removed from the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar if there are no concerns.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under old business, set a date of hearing for ordinance number 1606, amend Appendix B zoning, Section 17.113 HB, Highway Business Zone. Chad, did you want to address that?
Yeah, we had originally planned to have the hearing for that on the 7th, was that right? And
Tonight is-
the publication item that came up, we
Yes.
got a little mixed up, so we just have to reset the date of hearing, and then it'll be on the 22nd.
22nd? Okay.
Is there anything you want to add?
There's not, unless you have any questions, but yeah, as Chad stated, there were some publication issues. We just have to start the process over, but we've already had first reading of that, so we can't do another first reading. But we do have to ask you to now reset the hearing date
The
so
hearing
that
date.
ample time transpires between the publication date and the actual hearing.
Yep.
That didn't happen.
22nd.
No problem.
Okay.
Time, do you need a specific time for that?
5:30 plus or minus.
5:30 or soon thereafter.
I'll make a motion that we set the date of hearing for ordinance number 1606 for January 22nd at 5:30 or as soon after that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, number 1, designate depositories from municipal funds for 2019. Wells Fargo Bank, First Bank and Trust, Great Western Bank, South Dakota Public Funds Investment Trust, First National Bank. Jen, did you want to address this?
Other than the fact that this is pursuant to SDCL 9226, at the first meeting of every year, we have a handful of issues that we need to get your blessing on. The first one there is designate depositories for municipal funds for 2019. Just a note that in past years, we have included our 2 local credit unions. We have not used those credit unions for a number of reasons for a number of years. I did leave them off of the depository list this year.
Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll move to designate the depositories as set forth in number 1 of the new business.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, designate the legal newspaper for 2019 as the Madison Daily Leader. And again, Jen?
This one, gentlemen, is pursuant to SDCL 9126. Again, first meeting of every year, and this year we'd like to again designate the Madison Daily Leader, our friends there, as our legal newspaper for 2019.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we designate the legal newspaper for 2019 as the Madison Daily Leader.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Establish the 2019 election date and invite the Madison Central School District to participate in a joint election which would be held April 9th.
We would not have to, if you are going to hold an election on any date other than the second Tuesday of April, you need to designate that date. So we technically would not have to do that, but just for public knowledge, public reasons, I did agree to put that on for your consideration. I have talked to the Madison Central School District. They would like to participate in a joint election if offered. They have got 3 positions open this year. We here at the city have 1. Our mayor is up for re-election in April of 2019.
Actually, as positions voted on
Yes. And it's always nice to include the date, because then somebody will say, well, what date would that be? So,
April 9th.
yes. Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we establish the 2019 election date, invite the Madison Central School District to participate in joint election April 9th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
For a second,
Motion
I didn't know
carries.
if it's going to get a second or not.
It is. Number 4, approve the 2019 employee salaries and wages. Jen, I'll ask you if you want to address this one.
Okay, lastly, also required, the first meeting of every year, you have in front of you a listing of wages and salaries for all city employees for year 2019, effective with the first payroll of the year, which began on December 23rd. Just a comment, you know that we have not come to terms with the IBEW, so those handful of employees that are IBEW, that belong to the IBEW are listed in here at their 2018 rates until we agree to a new contract with them.
I'm okay with that, but did we not know this way we proceeded in the past too? Correct. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I make a motion we approve the 2019 employee salaries and wages.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 6, authorize the mayor to sign the contract with D&G Concrete Construction Incorporated on PCN X04E, Project 2019-1, Highway 34, Washington Avenue, reconstruction. Chad, would you want to address this one?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Included in the agenda packet is a contract that is 4 pages, a contract bond that is 2 pages, a power of attorney form, a bid schedule, use the term bid schedule, listing all the bid items, and then an insurance certificate, contract information, and a contract information form. This was received with a cover letter from the DOT. The Transportation Commission awarded this contract per an agreement that the city has with, they awarded the bid. But per the agreement the city has with the DOT, we're required to follow through and enter into a contract with the same contractor that the state entered into a contract with. And it's for the Highway 34 construction 2019 here on Washington Avenue. And in a little bit going on 10th Street to the east. So I would draw your attention to the bid form, bid schedule they refer to it as. The bid amount was $1,269,000, $361.93, $269,361.93. That was the bid. This is entirely sanitary sewer and water fund split, and the funds will come from that for this project. I wanted to point out and talk a little bit about budget if I can. Included in the budget for this project, and it entirely comes from the second cent funds for the IIP, which uses those second cent dollars. It's $1,346,424. That's in round numbers what was in the budget for that. However, that amount that was included in the budget included a $117,000 upsize or storm sewer payment that needed to be made to the DOT as they required. And that again was agreed to in this previous agreement that's been approved probably for at least 6 months now. Long and short of that is, if you take the 117 out of the budget number I mentioned previously, we're short on the budget because the bids came in a little bit higher for this project. So, and that is about $40,000 short is what we would anticipate. To address that, One way Jen and I have been talking about was to rebudget the $117,000 for 2020, because it's almost certain that that invoice will not be received from the DOT until later on.
Till 2020.
Yeah.
And so that does leave some contingency. If we do indeed do that, that leaves some contingency for this project, for changes, deviations from quantities, because this is a unit price contract. In other words, it's based on, if it's per foot, 100 feet of, not 100 feet, but for conversation, 100 feet of water main, and we put in 120 feet of water main, it goes up by 20%. And so it's all based upon unit prices, and that's also included in the terms of the contract as well. So,
And that upsized storm sewer is because of the south end of Washington Avenue.
that is correct, yes, and some of the development there and the runoff and the upsizing of the pipe that was needed due to that city property, not city property, but
Right.
drainage contributing to the state storm system beyond their typical design limits, I guess I'll say it that way. And so, yes, that's correct.
And we're going to be in the middle of it, so let's do it right.
Yes, yeah, and the DOT was rather insistent on that.
Good.
We had a fair amount of discussions to try to see if we could avoid having to do that, but that's their policies, and it's their storm sewer system. They're upsizing to provide for some of our drainage, if you will, and so that's why we have that. Otherwise, I stand by for any other questions.
Largely, you think that the 40,000 was largely related to that increase in drainage?
The shortfall you're talking?
Yes.
I would say, no, Commissioner Johnson, that it's probably just the estimated bid prices came in just a little bit higher. Talking to some different folks in the industry, bidding projects in Sioux Falls just today, and they were saying how they've been seeing some of the bids come in a little bit higher. And so that's a little bit of a trend that they're seeing right now.
We accounted for that storm sewer increase in the bid, in the spec.
Yep.
Correctly?
Yes, correct, yeah, it's built in. I mean, the pipe is oversized, yeah.
Everybody wants more.
Yep.
It's not bid rigging or anything like that.
No.
Bob Myerson talks about that.
Well, and then, it's a downhill flow.
Yeah, sure.
And so they just
There's several
anticipate
factors.
water's going to be coming into it at a faster
Exactly.
rate.
Yeah.
And rather than cap it out and,
Yep.
run on top, they want to make sure it stayed underneath, so.
And we've talked about this, the departmental level, so I don't question that it's what we want to do. It's just-
Where there's a catch basin now, you're gonna put another one right back in that vicinity?
In the, you talking at the southeast quadrant
Or at the
of the
bridge.
Washington and 10th intersection?
No, I'm not, I'm talking about down there by, where Karen's gas station used to be. There's one on the northeast corner that catches very little water, it's kinda up high. And,
The DOT,
No, the project actually starts when, as you're going south there, you'll hit that little patch of blacktop. And there's a little short distance
Yeah.
of blacktop. That's where the project ended in 2016, and we'll go from there south in 2019. The basin you're talking about is north of that.
yeah, it's on the Karen's corner.
Yeah, and that will not change.
Okay.
That was
So there will be
completed,
basin there.
that was completed in 2016.
Is it your understanding that there will continue to be basin there?
Oh, yeah, it's there and in place.
Okay, and there'll be no change.
You talking about
No,
Casey?
you'll
north.
notice right in front of ColorWorks, it goes from concrete to about 16 feet of blacktop.
Yep.
That's where they open it up and they start from there and go south.
Are you talking about the one on 4th?
No?
No,
No,
oh,
not
up there at yours.
Out
Oh,
in front of
okay.
Subway ColorWorks.
No,
Okay.
he's
No,
talking
I'm
about
talking by
Casey's.
where Karen's 66 used to be, or
That
Karen's
was
gas.
Subway's corner.
Okay.
No,
That-
keep going.
Oh, south of the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that one I don't know.
But see, that one's kinda up high, that don't catch much water.
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
can't
that'd
think.
just be drainage from the railroad track basically going
Yeah.
south.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
Whatever
that.
I don't know off the top where the DOT placed the drop inlets and the storm inlets there, but, you know, they signed their curb and gutter to intercept the water and so on.
If we could take that catch basin out and drainage pipe going across and let it run down to right in front of Casey's, it would probably,
It'd probably turn east and going around the corner before it got in front of Casey's.
well, it could be.
Because the road drops
Drops
to the
off
east.
pretty good there.
So, yeah, I didn't look at that one on the map, so I'm not sure
Okay.
where it's at.
There's one there. I don't remember exactly where it's placed. I know when we were looking at bringing our electric line across there, we had to go in a certain spots that we did not, we weren't in the way of the storm
where
drain
it's-
that was going to go over there and
where
the
it's
cross pipe and
proposed.
everything. So I know there's going to be one not too far from the corner.
I think it's a
Yeah.
small one, small lateral,
Yeah.
because it, as Bob indicated,
Doesn't-
there's a
Doesn't
small
get-
drainage
Right.
contributing area. Try to intercept the little bit that's coming through there, and then get it into the storm system, and so it can stay in underground and in pipes towards the creek.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, on this project, the way the DOT looked at it is they looked at the lowest cost on their bid, and then ours was a companion bid that did not have any effect on the overall project per se.
Correct.
If I remember that.
Correct. These are bid, the bidder has to bid both, and they award it based on the lowest combination bid. And if the DOT bid is not that they end up awarding, is not the lowest, we pay the difference.
Right.
Now, it's good, I'm glad you pointed that out. In this case, the DOT bid of this contractor, it wasn't, I don't have that in front of me. There's a little bit of difference. We have to pay less than $1,000 extra because of this clause that's in the contract. I should have had that with me, but I didn't. It was really close. It was really close to bids. So it's not TNR Contracting, obviously. It's D&G. I've heard good things about them from some of the folks that I've talked to, but yeah.
TNR was a good company to work with.
Yeah, by and large, I would agree.
Hopefully that doesn't mess up too much, having two different companies on, you know, and everything. And I get it. I mean, they'll come in and hopefully do as good a job. And
Yeah, I'm optimistic they will.
good.
Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we authorize the mayor to sign the contract with D&G Concrete Construction Incorporated for PCN X04E Project 2019-1, and this is the Highway 34 Washington Avenue reconstruction.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2017, Resolution 2019-1, approve a replat, Tract A of lots 1 and 2, Sinclair Edition. And again, I'll ask Chad if you want to address this one.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Included in the agenda packet is a resolution number 2019-01, the resolution to approve a replat, and it references the specific tract. In this case, its name is Tract A of lots 1 and 2 of Sinclair's Edition, and you can see that in sheet 2 of the plat. Sheet 1 of the plat, and it shows where this separate parcel is being created. There was a proposal provided to the Planning Commission for a variance to some setback requirements and also some parking requirements. The Planning Commission took that under consideration in their proposal and had a hearing, and that was approved, those variances, and a contingent upon the approval was this replat, which does, among other things, it grants parking in the hatched area, as you can see on sheet 1. Otherwise, typically, properties have to provide on-site parking to meet the need of any particular use being shown. The proposal before the Planning Commission, who considered that, found it adequate to use the shared parking in the hatched area and the driveways that are in the Montgomery store. The Sinclairs testified that their experience in over 20 years of operating that store, that they believe that sufficient parking was available, and the use on a furniture store wasn't, this would not damage that use, or it wouldn't negatively impact the parking they need, and it would also provide for parking needed for this proposed structure here. So again, you're not here necessarily to litigate that, so to speak, but I thought you might want to know a little bit of information, because that's in part why this plat is here before you. Create a separate parcel. My understanding is that from Mr. Sinclair is that this will be owned separately from the balance of Lot 1 and Lot 2 for the time being. So we try to put some encumbrances and see to it that the parking is provided so that in 10, 20 years, if there's totally different owners, they still meet the parking requirements for per our ordinance anyway.
Yeah, this is Eric and Neela's
Yes.
venture.
Yep. And we do have, I see the one here included isn't signed, but we do have a signed one, in the finance office that's been signed by both the surveyor and the owner there.
Hey, questions
I would
or
recommend
comments?
approval.
Here,
Now,
I'll
do we
make,
have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2019-01, the first of the year. Approve a replat, Track A of lots 1 and 2, Sinclair Edition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, under public comment, Marshall, would you like to step to the microphone? You have a brief topic, zoning and parking in the alley and snow removal.
Yep. Just a couple questions on it. I guess the first one, zoning and the parking, relates to the DSU purchasing the building south of the St. Thomas School to put 18, I think the paper said
Paper did say
18 apartments in there, or
18 beds,
18 beds.
yes.
Okay.
And I've been in and out of that building many times, and so there's not 18 rooms, but they would be looking at 2 people per room to get to 18.
So is that zoned correctly for 18?
Chad?
We haven't received a proposal, so to speak, or an application for anything, but it is zoned, as I recall, R20. I apologize, I didn't prepare because it was signed up here, but I believe it's R20, which is your highest density apartment development.
Residential.
Yeah, and so they would, my initial thought is that any proposal would have to comply with current zoning rules and regulations, including parking.
So is that still 1.5 parkings per, so do they have to have 1.5 for 18 rooms, or?
Or is it 1.5 per?
Again, I don't have mine, I
Yeah,
believe it might
I
be
don't-
2 per, depends
per
on
dwelling.
what the exact proposal is. If it's, typically it's per dwelling, or if it's
Yes.
a dormitory, there may be some different provisions, but say, for example, dwellings, if I recall correctly, it's 2 per dwelling.
2 per dwelling.
But I don't know that it's going to be
So
separate
if you put up a
dwellings.
fourplex, you have to have 8 parking spaces.
Okay, so how many dwellings would that be? 18 then, or?
No, because you can have multiple bedrooms in a home. So it doesn't go by bedrooms, it goes by dwelling. And so since it's considered probably one dwelling, because it has one large living room, one large kitchen, it just has multiple bedrooms.
So we're going to have 18, let's say 18 different people in there, and they're probably all going to have vehicles. Where are they going to park?
I don't have that answer for you, and that's a
I mean,
concern I have as well.
That's a concern.
Yeah, and we have expressed that.
Okay.
We have expressed that, but at this point in time,
Right.
nothing has moved forward, so.
And
Good
then,
question.
And I'm just going by what the paper said that they were
Yes.
planning on, so I was
Yes.
just asking.
No,
Okay.
I'm totally with you.
Okay.
Yeah, totally with you.
All right.
And, you know, but they've completed the purchase,
Okay.
but they haven't come forward any further with,
Okay.
with the, you know, planned use of the facility yet.
We'll wait to see what they plan on doing, so. The snow removal for alleys, and this is for my sister, she couldn't make it. The city clears the alleys from snow?
Yes.
Okay,
Generally, yes.
okay. Is it common practice to push the snow into the backyard, or do they take it out, or how do they get rid of it?
I don't know if there's a common practice. I can only think of circumstances that certain alleyways. So what's your concern, can I ask you?
Well, it was pushed into the backyard.
No, normally I would say that is not what we want to have happen.
Okay.
And it was a city vehicle that moved that in?
Is it a dead-end alley?
No, it's the
So
first,
it's all the way through.
right, it's the first alley from the highway second to, and it's on Olive. And it goes to, would be Third Avenue. We were just concerned because there was some snow pushed in. And we also have a gas main that must have been, or a gas meter. There must have been a fence, and they put the meter outside the fence and then ran it in, so they didn't have to come in through the fence, I guess. I'm not for sure. And we took that fence down, but there is a gas meter there, and we were concerned that it wasn't going to get hit.
Do you have anything identifying if it gets covered with snow, that it's in existence there? Like a fence post with a yellow?
No,
You don't have anything there?
it's just the gas meter's sitting right, probably, I would say 4 or 5 feet from the alley.
Because, and I'm just looking at it from the standpoint that when we get snow piled on stuff like that and they're coming through, if they can't see it, they don't know it's there.
Right,
You know,
okay, right.
so that might
Okay.
be something to look at, is to, you know, put an identifier on it like we do the fire
Okay.
hydrants,
We can do that.
you know.
But
Can you ask what the address is so I can check with Gary on that?
309 North Olive.
Thanks, Marshall.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's
I mean-
one of the last things you'd want to hit, is a gas line.
Right, right.
You know.
And I think I talked to Sid, and they're working on, because we took the fence down and we said, well, do you need the gas meter out there? And he said, well, if you want us to move it now, it's going to cost you, but if you wait, we will move it in closer to the,
In the spring.
right,
Sure.
right. But she was more concerned about the snow being pushed up, because it kind of, the
Well, you
backyard
don't-
kind of slopes down to the house. And
You
with-
also don't want to cover those.
Right.
Because they have vents on them
Right.
that make them work properly.
Right. So,
And if they're covered with snow, that changes how they operate.
right. So the main concern was, do we push snow into the backyards when we try and clean that, or what? And you can check that out, Kelly,
No,
and,
I would say the answer to that is we would try to push it.
okay. I mean, you going through it, you're gonna get some,
Sure.
that's not, but it's kind of like it was angled,
Okay.
like,
Like they had a full load in front of them.
right, and they kind of angled it. And then I was more concerned about that gas, but if you think we need to put up a flag, we can.
Oh, I
I
would
would say it's up to
definitely
the
like to
gas
see something
company
like that,
to flag your
identifying
own
it there.
meters. Just like the city flags their fire hydrants.
Yeah.
It's up to
Okay.
Northwestern Public Service to.
I'll check with Sid, yeah. Okay, thanks for the info.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
George?
I had a question about the shrimp farm that's coming, and I was just wondering what kind of rate they'll get for water and electricity. They're gonna use a lot of water, 9 acres of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, they won't use 9 acres with, because once they fill it, it holds 14 million
Yeah.
gallons. And then they will exchange that at a rate of about 300,000 gallons a day. At this point in time, we've not addressed it at all because, you know, we haven't gotten that far. So what kind of rate that they would get, I would imagine it would be the same as any other of our commercial rates unless, you know.
But I mean, are they coming for sure?
Well, that's what we've been told.
Because I mean,
Until they break ground and
Yeah.
construction starts.
because I would think that would be the most intricate part of the whole thing that would make their decision whether to come or not. They'd want
Well-
to know that cost up
In
front.
fact, it was,
Yeah.
it did contribute greatly to their decision,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
quality of our water and the amount of water.
Yeah, that the city has and
Yes.
the power that the city has.
Yes, and Brad has been involved in that as well.
Yeah, and basically, the deal with the rate is Heartland has an incentive rate that they offer, and in this case, it's called Energy One. And they have offered that, I don't know the term, it typically runs anywhere from 3 to 5 years for the entity, and it's more or less a pass-through. We get a break, and then we pass it through to them for the period of time for the incentive. When that runs out, they go to our regular rates.
Okay.
And on the water side, it is a fair amount of water. They generally, once they get the water and get the building filled up, which takes
Yeah.
quite a long time, the bulk of the 300,000 gallons a day that they anticipate using is going to be for cleaning. So the place is going to be cleaned on a regular basis. They'll have these tidal basins, as they call them, that they have to clean. And for the most part, it'll just be the cleaning solutions in the water that comes out of there, very little of the salt. They want to keep all the salt they can in their system, so they have a way to do that. And then they clean out these tidal basins, and they'll have some in production, some in cleaning, and they'll just rotate through them as they go along after they harvest.
Okay.
That's kind of my understanding. That's as much as I know about it,
Yeah.
which is,
No,
It's
thank
gonna
you.
be, it's gonna be an interesting learning.
Yeah, yeah, no,
know,
thank you.
Typically, you don't think of shrimp in South Dakota. So, well, thank you. Seeing no announcements, no executive session, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.